There are 7 basics no matter what protocol you're going to do. Another thing I think everyone should do is take their pH. There are 3 things that I believe everyone should have. They should have a thermometer, preferably a mercury thermometer, a blood pressure cuff, and pH strips, and test those on a regular basis. You keep those 3 things balanced really well, and you'd be surprised how many health conditions you can avoid. We have a class just on pH. Between 6.3 and 6.6 is the best place to have your pH. Then you can absorb all the nutrients known to man. So your saliva should be between 6.3 and 6.6, which the saliva and the fluids around the cells are going to be the exact same number. So if this is that right, that one's going to be right. Urine can bounce around a little bit, but try to keep it that if it's always 5.5, that's not good. Preferably 6.5 for the urine as well. Breast milk should be 8.0, and a woman can just, squeeze a little bit of milk out and test the pH. You test it directly. And the blood should be 7.41. Again, it's hard to test the blood, but if your saliva and your urine is hunky-dory, then chances are this is going to be good as well. So basically, take your pH. If you don't know what to do for it, contact me, and I'll help you. And then when the pH class comes along, it's not for a couple months yet. You can watch it. If you're in our group, you email me, and I'll send you the recording of the last class. Yeast. Yeast is a big thing. Matter of fact, I am going to have a class just on yeast. So we're just going to cover the importance of yeast in the body. We'll get into a lot of it when we do the hour-and-a-half class. So one thing is try to make sure you don't get reinfected. The way you get reinfected is by taking antibiotics, or it can be sexually transmitted between husband and wife. So if the woman's having UTI, yeast infections, then she should also have her husband do the yeast diet as well. And probably use some Silver Shield as a lubricant to cut down on the yeast. Then you starve it out by not eating sugars, breads, noodles, any kind of simple carb. You take fermented foods. The fermented bacteria will eat the yeast, as well as probiotics will eat the yeast. Caprylic acid or coconut oil, which contains caprylic acid, will help get it out of the bloodstream. You can take yeast fungal, but don't take a lot of it, because the die-off of yeast can cause you to get pretty sick. And then, if your pH is balanced, you're much less likely to have yeast problems. Okay, so this is just a quick overview where you can get yeast thrush in the mouth. For babies, you can actually just put Silver Shield on your nipple and put a little bit of probiotic on there. And when the baby nurses, then you don't get the thrush nipple thing going back and forth. If it's on the feet, I should have its own bullet point here. You can soak your feet in 50% vinegar and 50% water. Put a little tea tree oil in afterwards. Organs and glands, just keep it healthy. If you know that you have yeast in your liver, then you want to make sure you take liver cleanse, things like that. In the brain, I would add L-glutamine, because it helps pull yeast out of the brain, and use frankincense so that you can get the L-glutamine past the blood-brain barrier. On the skin, you can use Pardiarca lotion. Sometimes people get yeast in the folds of their skin or in their underarms. This one lady came to me, and they wanted to remove her belly button because she would get yeast. She's heavy like me, and she kept on getting yeast infections in her belly button, and it would get raw, and it was eaten through the skin, and it was nasty. And they wanted to cut out her belly button and do a major operation. And I said, well, why don't you just do this? Take some toilet paper and tuck it in your belly button, because it keeps moisture away, because yeast needs moisture. And she did, and she noticed after a couple of days that the bleeding and the infection was less. She kept on doing it, and that's all she needed. She avoided an operation. Another person from, I think she was from Australia, had yeast infections underneath her underarm really, really bad. She stopped using underarm deodorant, so everything started coming out. And she said, I can't function. It's killing me. So I told her to get maxi pads, like if you're going to have your period, and put them underneath her underarms. Just wear a really tight shirt. I said, even if you have to wear one of your kids' shirts, and put it in there so that is constantly against there, because those things are made to absorb moisture. And she did, and very quickly, within a couple of days, it cleared up, even though she had been working with it for a long, long time. Okay, and then if you get yeast in the vaginal area, you can douche with vinegar, especially if you take the vinegar and you soak black walnut hulls in it. That works even better. And plain yogurt. Yeast in the sinuses, and you get yeast in the sinuses quite often, you'd be surprised. Put silver sugar in a neti pot and then flush it out.